I think the first thing is recognizing that, first and foremost, parenting's hard, right? Like, it's challenging knowing all the lines, right? Knowing when to push, when to discipline, when to encourage, when you're asking too many questions, when you're too involved, when you're not involved enough. I mean, knowing the balance and all that is just challenging. And each kid is going to ask different things from their parents. So just first and foremost, encouraging parents to rest and just try their best. And with moments like this, we shouldn't ignore the hard conversation either. Because when we invite or initiate the conversation with the kids, what we are doing actually is we are inviting them into it. We're giving them permission to be able to ask questions. We're giving them permission to really articulate what it is that they're feeling. And so really it is on us as parents to set that environment for our kids. And so we should initiate and not be afraid to initiate the hard conversations.
So I think the step that I think we have to do that too many parents don't want to do is to be in conversation with your kids so that your children know if something makes them feel uncomfortable, if something doesn't seem right to them, that they can speak to you about those things.
Because the reality is that it's going to be talked about. They're going to hear about it one way or another, so you have to decide how you want your children to hear about it. Do you want them to see it through the news, happen to read it on a newspaper, hear it from somebody who is ready to leave the church because of it, who's ranting about it, or do you want to be able to frame it in a way that allows your child to feel safe and secure and to be able to come to you with these questions?
If you do want to talk to your kids about it, is to set a time to have the conversation. Maybe following Mass, have a meal together and just start a normal conversation with your kids and then gently bring it up. If the Mass does follow, or the meal does follow the Mass where the news breaks, then being able to talk to them. What did they hear? What do they understand from the bishop's letter? What do they understand from what Father said about the situation? How do they feel about hearing these names of priests? Maybe there might be men that they know or did know. But first, just being gentle and starting to set a time to have the conversation and be very intentional to talk to your kids about what they're experiencing. And then really just going as far as they're capable or ready to hear. You don't have to share all the details with all the kids. Or what you share to your 15 or 16-year-old might be different than what you're going to share to your 5 or 6-year-old. And I think that should be the case. So being able to be age appropriate with the scandal and the news, but being willing to go as far as they're capable of going and be ready for questions should they have them, and answer the questions to the degree that you know you can. And if you don't, then just in humility say you don't know the answer, and that's okay too.
When we choose to talk to them about abuse, sexual abuse, then we need to be very mindful of the development of the child. What is age appropriate? Obviously, for a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old is not going to be age appropriate, and where you can go in more depth with an older child. When your child comes to tell you something, I know it's hard when you're cooking dinner and you're trying to do 2 or 3 things at one time, but you have to take the time to listen to what they're telling you.
And let them know that you're going to believe them. I think that that's a big part. Like, I will do whatever I can to protect you, and I'm going to believe you. So if in your gut you feel like this person is not treating you with the respect that they should, then I'm not going to let you be in those situations anymore. And we're going to find a way, to process this and figure out how to keep you out of situations that make you feel uncomfortable.
Because one of the things that will keep a child in an abusive relationship is the belief that no one will believe them if they tell, and also fear of what will happen if they tell, and then particularly perhaps being blamed for what happened, and then the shame of having been abused, which I know doesn't really makes sense that you'd be shameful of being a victim, but they don't always see themselves as a victim. So there can be shame also involved. So I think that's what I would, they need to talk to their child and prepare them, particularly with small children. If a small child is saying, I don't want to go to Uncle Jerry's house, I don't want to go spend the night there, and they're repeating this to you, why? Don't force them to go. And maybe it just needs to be a caution on your part.
God gave us that gut feeling of when things are good or bad, and to remind kids to follow their gut, that's okay. And that if they have a feeling, whether it's things have crossed a line or not, this person makes me uncomfortable, then they should be able to go find, with our children, we hope it's us, but find an adult that they do trust to say, this person really makes me uncomfortable and I want to be out of these type of situations with this person.
As a parent, tell your kids to trust their intuition. As a parent, trust your kids too. Sometimes they know what they're talking about, even if they might be 3rd, 4th grade.
And then I just listen to my kids. Spent a lot of time listening to what they were thinking and what they were feeling about it, and just affirmed that. Just affirmed all of it, the anger, the frustration, the fear, the confusion. Just, yes, it's okay to be that. It's okay. If that's what you feel, that's what you feel, and it's okay. It's okay. And I think that's all we can do with our kids, to not shy away, just to be ready for whatever that conversation is.